Thank you, Siri. Gee whiz, Siri. Very nice of you. I wish I could create fireballs just by going like... That would be dope. You know how many people would leave you the fuck alone if you just did that and like come up to you to try and hassle you for something and you're just like... It'd be like... Great balls of fire, yeah. Juggle them. Do you listen to the front bottoms? Is that what this title is a reference to? No. I do not listen to the front bottoms. That's just the way French people say, good day to you. Until next time. Taking a bunker scouting trip here soon. And I will be in a different place for about a week, whilst Amelia and I check things out. So that'll be nice. I've got high hopes that we'll be able to find a reasonable place. Good luck on the bunker hunt. Thank you. This is going to be a temporary bunker. But what I'm really hoping is that we've got, a couple of days to do that, to visit all the places that we've kind of earmarked to look at. And then that the rest of it can be like a little vacation for me and Amelia, because that is one thing that we have never been able to do together, really. The closest we've come is going, like we went to the beach for a weekend together. So I guess we have gotten to get away for a couple of days, but in all the time that we've been together, we haven't gotten to take like a week and just be like on vacation in a place. And so I think we're both looking forward to that as well. And it'll give us a chance to check out the area that we will very likely be living in soon. Mountains and hills offer high visibility both for you and for you. Streams indicate permanent water on site. Stay away from willow trees and old oaks. Stay away from willow trees and old oaks. That fucking movie is so dreamlike. That movie is so incredible. It's like there's nothing to compare it to. There really isn't. Like in the history of cinema, there are movies that have similar themes. There are movies that may even look similar at times, but that movie is like a fucking dream from start to finish. The soundtrack, that weird synth soundtrack. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Legend, by the way, is the movie we're talking about. For those that don't know. Vacation is like work sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it can be. One of the great things about Amelia and I is that we run on the same wavelength. Does that make sense? I've been with people in the past, and I've got friends and stuff that when you travel with them, they're on like this level here, and you're down here. or you're up here and they're, you know what I mean? It's like we tend to be pretty much on the same wavelength, which is to say that like we value downtime just as much as go time. And there are people that are just like, man, when you're on a vacation, you've got to like make the most of it. You got to see every fucking thing and do as many things as you can because you only got this amount of time. And I understand that thought process, but for me, that's exhausting. Like, that's not a vacation. I come home and I feel worse than when I left. That's not good. You know, like for me, a mix. Let's go do something. Let's hang out and see something we haven't seen for a while, and then let's go chill. You know? To me, that's the pace. That's the pace of life. Mwah! Feels like those horns Tim Curry wore took an inch or two off his height with the spinal compression. So, did you know that there was a special green screen rig used in that movie that assisted the horns so that Tim Curry wasn't holding them? In fact, Tim Curry, when he was portraying that character, was actually in a harness. Because if you notice, the character is goat-footed. So they have the reverse thing. So Tim Curry was in a rig that was supported by wires that took the weight. Pretty cool. Pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. I still imagine that that was one of the most arduous, long, and uncomfortable to be in makeup jobs in all of film history. I'd be willing to bet that every day that he was shooting, Tim Curry was in a makeup chair for 6 hours. At least. I had to watch Legend multiple times before I caught Dee's monologue in the background about creation being corrupt and nothingness being perfection. Yeah. I mean, it definitely took a lot of conceptuals, but once you've got like shooting, you have to have something that you can put on and take off of that actor for shooting days. And there's got to be a process to it. So they probably came up with a process. I'd be willing to bet he was in the fucking makeup chair forever, because it wasn't just that they put big horns on him, you know. They redid the entire structure of his face, gave him that really sunken, gaunt cheek with the high cheekbones and the pointed nose and the really defined and kind of curved chin. They basically had to remake his entire face. He had dental inserts to give him fangs. Yeah. So he and the makeup artist, probably two of the first people to arrive on set every fucking day that he would shoot. Sit down at 2 a.m. and get done by, 8, 9 a.m. And it's a full day of shooting in the makeup. Crazy. Anyway, it just makes me long for the days thinking about Legend, because I got to be honest with you, Legend was treated like a kid's movie back in the day. Let me explain to you. Back in the 80s and 90s, especially the 80s, kids' movies were dark as fuck. Not all of them, but a good chunk of kids' movies were scary, dealt with really kind of dark themes, including death. And really had a fucking, like, I was introduced at a very young age to that aesthetic, the kind of dark, gloomy, grim dark aesthetic. If you go and look at kids movies from the 80s, Goonies has its dark moments. Look at I think it's Ralph Bakshi animations, Secret of Nim and American Tail. Dark. Both of those movies incredibly dark. Then you had things coming out of Henson Studios like The Dark Crystal. Incredibly dark, considered to be a kids movie. Then you had things like Neverending Story. Once again, incredibly dark, incredibly violent in some cases. Just crazy. Kids movie. Legend. Kids movie. Compare that, right, to what we're showing kids now. And tell me what the psychological impact of both of those things would be. It'd be interesting to, like, do a study on it. Because I'm not claiming being introduced to that kind of darkness was a good thing when I was, 5 to 10 years old. All I'm saying is it's utterly and completely fucking different than what we have now. Watching a so-called kids movie now, they're indistinguishable in comparison. Hello, date. What do you know, date? Oh, one up here. I wish I would have saw you earlier. This one should ring the bell. Ding. American Tail is super dark. Does it not have anti-Semitic ethnic cleansing or something? It's a comparison of, like, Russian. Basically, if you strip away the cartooniness of it, Fievel and his family are Russian Jews who are fleeing oppression, and so, or Polish Jews, sorry, fleeing oppression. When they're on the boat to America, the boat that they all stow away on, there's a song called "No Cats in America," which, on the face of it is just kind of a cute thing. But if you actually look at what it's about, it is a group of immigrants from all over the world that have gotten together to come to America, and they have this bright and overarching expectation that America is going to be this land where you can just pick gold up off the streets, or in their case, cheese, right? And so in that song, Fievel's father sings a song about what he's fleeing. There's an Irish immigrant that sings about what he's fleeing, the oppression that he's fleeing to come to America. There's an Italian immigrant that does the same. And so, and these people are talking about fleeing death, how they're fleeing a place that once was supportive of them and now wants to kill them. And that's the American immigrant story writ large. All the way through, right? So it's like not just that little nod to the expectations that immigrants had coming here, but the, admission that it was nothing like they thought it was going to be. And then in some cases, it may have been worse. That it was a place of struggle at the very least. And then, of course, the cats are these huge, oppressive combinations of monster and oligarch in these films. They find out that there are indeed cats in America, and that the cats in America are just as bad as the cats where they're coming from. They're evil. They run the underground. They run the crime syndicate. They're kind of like the government as well. So I always thought, as an older person looking back over American Tail, that cats were capitalists, or you know, that the whatever flavor of capitalism was becoming the norm in these areas. The robber barons, the cops, the gangsters, all of these people sucking off of the working class, you know. Yeah, the ruling class, right, right. And so, and keep in mind, we're talking about a child's movie. We're talking about a movie that parents rented from the fucking store and plopped their kids down in front of. How amazing is that? When's the last time you saw a movie that had a message beyond just rank self-affirmation? You're good enough. No matter how you look, it's okay. That's fine, putting that kind of stuff. When's the last time they made a kids movie that tackled a working class issue, that tackled capitalism, that tackled the evils of fucking, immigration in America? In the first movie, they were too. In the first movie, the cats would exploit the mice, remember? So when Fievel gets there, he gets separated from his family, and he gets kind of pulled into this underworld of immigrant mice, all of whom are living in fear and subservience to various levels of cat oppression. So there's the constable cat that Fievel thinks will help him because he's a cop, but he turns out to be just as exploitative. There's the fucking gangster cats. There's one cat in there that's a nice guy, a big dumb cat. But the rest of the cats, they represent different strata on the political and social hierarchy. They're the politicians. They're the speakeasy owners. They're the gangsters and the enforcers and the tiger, right? Connect. Reconnecting. Is it reconnected? Hello? Check, check, 1, 2. Are we recording? Can you hear me? Is it real? Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened. Had a little momentary hiccup in the Wi-Fi, I guess. It looks like we're okay. Very grainy, but you were here. That's probably got something to do with your side, unless everybody else is experiencing the same. Can you hear me through the wire? This is Thomas Edison. My name is Thomas Edison. Good day. Anyway, the point being, and this is kind of like a boomer rant, but the point being, I really honestly feel like a lot of the meaning has been stripped out of children's entertainment and replaced with this kind of self-congratulatory, everybody's a princess kind of mentality, which is okay. You want to build a child's self-esteem. There was plenty of that kind of stuff. Like, I had the Care Bears when I was a kid, when I was really little. And, the Care Bears are about that. The Care Bears are about different people with different kinds of moods, embracing one another and making that thing at the core of their being that makes them special, powerful when they use it together. Care Bear stare. It's like all of their little personality quirks are projected out. All of the things that make them, nice. And I feel like, I will say this, I haven't watched a lot of fucking movies from about 2015 on. It's been about 5 years since I really was like watching some of these like Disney, Pixar kind of movies. But the ones that I saw, like Wreck-It Ralph and Cars, and you guys remember for a time I lived with a roommate that had a child, and so it was just a rotating every day. We had to watch the same fucking goddamn movie. And so yeah, and really like the message of all of those movies to me was just like, be yourself. It's okay to be nice. It's okay to be kind. It's okay to be softer than other people, and that everybody has something to give. And, and that's wonderful. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to tell your kids. Yeah, it's about finding something inside of you that is different, that is unique about you, and then learning to love that about yourself and nurture that in yourself and not be ashamed of that in yourself. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. Those are all like really nice things that you would want your children to know. So I'm not complaining about the message necessarily, but I really feel like that there's a dearth of these like actual life messages being kind of put forth. And American Tail really is the Rosetta Stone for me as an '80s kid. There are other movies that I could mention here, but I wouldn't have as much to say. As a Jew, American Tail is fantastic. As a non-Jew, American Tail is fantastic. That's one of the great things about it, is it tells a story that I feel like is it transcends racial, social, cultural, and religious boundaries, and paints America in both a wonderful light. So here's the thing about American Tail. A lot of people would listen to the talk that I've given about this and think like, oh, Paul just likes it because it's an America bashing movie. It isn't. It isn't. There is a hopefulness amongst this immigrant community. You remember Fievel, when he's first separated, meets Henri, the pigeon, who lives in the crown of the Statue of Liberty, and there's this wonderful song called Never Say Never, where this obviously immigrant bird, he's a Frenchman who came here, and he's saying, look, you have to see through the ugliness of this place, because underneath that there's opportunity. And the people that say never don't get anything done. But the people that believe in themselves and work hard, here's a place where you can do that. It's a very honest look at America. It's not negative. It's not positive. It's honest. And that's cool. It was cool as a kid to watch America painted in that way. To see it, because it was so contrary. It really was. It's 100% a work. We just got done talking about it. It's 100% a working class film. It's about the working class and the class stratification in America. The cats representing the oligarchs. The different strata of people that feed off of the working class. So the criminal element, the gangsters that exploit people, and then the cops, and then the politicians. So, Secret of Nim, yeah. Underrated class consciousness films. I mean, while we're on the subject of 80s kids movies, The Goonies is 100% a class consciousness film. A lot of people remember Goonies, and they go like, oh yeah, that's the crazy pirate movie. And it is, but what are those kids doing? Why are they going on a pirate adventure? Anybody remember? What starts the pirate adventure? fighting a corporate takeover. Right. A big giant corporation has weaseled its way into purchasing out from underneath an entire neighborhood of people their homes so that they can make a golf course on it. So the very beating heart of that movie is the working class struggle. These kids represent the working class in the Goondocks, which is the neighborhood that they live in, that they want to turn into a fucking golf course. And they go on this quest to beat back the capitalists and to keep their homes, and to not only keep their homes, but to keep their neighborhood as a working class neighborhood. And it's all told through the lens of, childhood innocence and imagination. There's a very strong undercurrent, I believe, in the Goonies of what's real and what isn't, how many of these traps and pitfalls that they face are even really happening in the way that we see them, or are we seeing them magnified through the lens of childhood imagination. It's just a fantastic film. It's a kid's movie. It's a movie that was made for like 8 to 10-year-olds. Another movie from the 80s that is a class consciousness film, E.T. E.T., if you strip away the overarching idea, is about a kid making friends with an immigrant and the government coming to take that immigrant away. Am I wrong? E.T. is about a working class kid who dares to make friends with someone that is different from him, and then is exposed to the oppression that people that are different from him experience at the hands of the government. Yeah, you've never heard of E.T.? E.T. the Extraterrestrial, an 80s movie by Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg also kind of behind the Goonies. He produced. Richard Donner directed, but he produced. Yeah, I'm just trying to fucking chill out and occupy my mind today. Kid holding back understanding and opportunity from his society because he wants a friend. Selfish. Okay, you could look at it that way too, I guess. Now I feel old hearing someone who didn't hear about that movie, and I'm 20. Yeah. E.T. took our gerbs. But yeah, Elliot and his family live in the white middle-class suburbs, and E.T. is representative of somebody from outside of that little suburban world. And when Elliot, who has to hide his friendship from everybody around him, are you starting to see this, is discovered to have this friend, then the entirety of society turns against him. That's the plot of E.T. Excuse me. Weed, please. Ooh, ha, hee, ha. Wee. Trying to think of other movies that are just kind of like subversively working class. Especially from that era, it's easy to find them. I mean, to be honest with you, if you look at even non-kids movies, there was a lot of like working class sentiment explored in the 80s through film, particularly. Look at like RoboCop, right? Which is just a giant warning against letting corporations privatize everything, right? I mean, like, what is that movie about? Really? Like, what's the universe that RoboCop takes in? Yes, it's a cool ass movie about a future fucking blah 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 robot fight with, you know. Well, what's going on? A fucking corporation has literally privatized an entire fucking region, and they are the law there. And that people that work and live in this region are fucking dystopian slaves to it. Alien and Aliens, incredibly working class films. People don't understand this. Alien, okay, I want you to understand. The first movie, Alien, is not about spacefaring space marines, right? It is about literal blue collar workers who work a very dangerous job and are away from their families, to sound familiar, for months and years on end to do this job, and don't get to see their families very often, and sacrifice a great amount of their personal fucking freedom in service of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. Okay? These are miners. Ripley is a working class hero. Yes. 100%. Alien is a working class film. It's about the power of the working class. Take a look at it. What happens to Ripley? Ripley is exposed to great personal danger because of company protocol. It is company protocol that if they receive a distress beacon, that they have to check it out. So that's why they land their shit on LV 426 or whatever it was. I think that is right, LV 426. They land there because company policy tells them you have to put yourself at risk. Down they go. Alien gets on board, kills fucking everybody, right? Everybody except for Ripley, who, at the end of it, right, at the end of Alien, beats it by blowing it out of the airlock and destroying the ship that she's on and getting away on an escape pod, right? And that movie doesn't even address the issue. This is the brilliance of Alien 1 and Aliens, right? You think, wow, that was fucking spectacular. But what did she just do? Think about what she just did. From the perspective of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, what did she do? There we go. Yeah, she blew up a fucking giant starship. Absolutely, destroyed company property. And that's addressed at the beginning of Aliens. At the beginning of Aliens, after drifting through space for 57 years, Ripley's escape pod is found, and she's in cryostasis inside of it, alive. She's brought back to Earth. And as soon as she convalesces out of the hospital, she's brought before the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. All right, my mom is texting me, so hold up. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put this on hold in the background and see if I can call her. Where it was. You just had to know. That's right, motherfucker. We back. They kept the faith, dude. Look at them. They kept the faith. How's the mom? She's good. They should put blood in your apocalypse's tank. Fill it with the blood of milk of human kindness. Fill it with the tears of the disenfranchised. Ah, yes. Hydrate yourself, citizen. Dusty D, what do you think? Real. Oh, buddy. Wish I could explain to Dinor that we'll be traveling soon. But that we'll be back. But him no understand. Him too stoopy. Him no can't understand. Like, I want a hug. Steve is sending me a bunch of Zillow links.
For which?
Properties that are around where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
That are pet friendly and in our budget. So if we wanted to take a look at a couple of houses, there was one that she said was on the market for like multiple dozens of weeks.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
So might be worth looking at. Would definitely be a better adjacent move than going from here to an apartment. But it would expose us to the private landlord problem again. Well, not all of these are probably... a lot of people hire fucking agencies to do their rental stuff, so we'll see. Move to the center of the earth. Well, how do you know that's not where we're looking?
Yeah, I got your bag packed, I think.
Thank you, baby. Just watching Dinor like process the world is interesting sometimes.
Yeah.
Antarctica. That's where I really want to go. Like 10 years, it's going to be like a tropical paradise for a few months a year. It's going to be beautiful white sand beaches. Come to beautiful, unspoiled Antarctica.
Seals will probably still try to visit.
Yep.
Seals are the best. They just go bloop, 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 bloop.
They are the best. You're right. They're 100% the best. Antarctica isn't complete without humans. Yeah, we've got to go and put our mark there, dude. I mean, there's people there. There's people that living, well, I guess they don't live, but there are people living on Antarctica 365 days a year already. They just live in weird outposts that are owned by different countries who have agreed to like have cooperation in exploring and studying Antarctica. Was that, do you remember the name of that documentary we watched?
I don't. It was like maybe 365 days in Antarctica or
Something like that. There was just a documentary that was pretty cool that was about those people. Yeah. That's kind of what it was about. Like they talked about the people that go there only during like the summer season. And then like the vast majority of people pack out before the winter sets in, and then a skeleton crew is basically left behind to winter over and keep the base alive so they can come back. But those people live in complete darkness for the entirety of winter. And they're able to see some of the most amazing auroras and views of the night sky that you can get on the planet Earth, because you're talking about a place where there's functionally zero light pollution, functionally zero civilizational pollution, and you're basically getting like just a perfectly clear view of the stars from there. So pretty neat. But they also live in temperatures that'll like freeze you solid in 20 seconds if you're not prepared. So there's that.
At one point in that documentary, like the door hadn't sealed properly, so like the whole thing could like get to a satellite or whatever. It was just packed with snow.
They were like, "Yep, look at this. Door didn't seal, and like the winter basically came inside." So
Dangerous as fuck.
yeah. Being in darkness during the winter is extremely depressing. Yeah, they talk about it. There's some fucking syndrome. I can't remember, not a syndrome, but some kind of thing that they talk about. I can't remember the name of it now because it's been over a year since we watched it. But they also have to deal with the thing. Oh yeah, that's right, the thing.
Went out and put away the rest of the clothes.
Do, 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 do.